Hello, Feuzion. My name is Alex Fuse, the host of Fusion News, and you are watching the second live episode today. I am your host, and I am joined right now by Greg Auman, Tampa Bay Times, to talk some football and more on tonight's show. So, Greg, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem, anytime. And, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like you said before we started the show, they're on, the upward rise. Like, teams like the Dallas Cowboys, I know they're on an upward rise, that you would say, I guess, and the Raiders now. And, I could see them being a team in the playoffs in the next few years. Do you?
Yeah, I think the expectations will certainly be on this team to try and be a playoff team next year. I mean, to finish 9-7, really close to the playoffs this year. I mean, if they literally had just flipped the outcome of their last two games, if they had beaten the Saints and lost to the Panthers and still been 9-7, they would have been in the playoffs as a wild card. So I think they know how close they were to being a postseason team, and I think there'll be that little bit more of an urgency all year long to make the most of every week and try and get themselves in.
Now, what do you think this team needs to do over the offseason to really, push this team into the playoffs, which I know they really want to get back into?
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to add some weapons offensively. This is a team that didn't score very consistently, especially in the second half of the season. I think they took big strides defensively, and they'll have most of their defense back intact. Free agency shouldn't hit them too hard, but they've got a lot of cap room where they should certainly make some upgrades, especially just finding some depth at receiver, solving what they're going to do at running back. But no, they've got certainly the financial means to put themselves in position to have a much more well-rounded team next year.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greg, I know I saw there's been a few coaching position changes, a lot of, different moves this team is making over the offseason. What exactly has changed, via the coaching position so far?
Really very little. I mean, the staff returns almost intact. And I think at the end of the season, I thought that Mike Smith might be gone, whether it be to Jacksonville or San Diego, getting back to being a head coach. But they were able to keep him and give him an extension. The only full-time coach they lost was their tight ends coach. John Embry went to the 49ers, so they promoted from within for that. But otherwise, staff's intact. Continuity will be a big plus for Dirk Cutter in 17.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greg, we'll switch gears. I know Darrell Revis has a huge story today. I want to ask you, what is exactly happening with this story today?
Yeah, I'm not in a position to update the reporting on a story in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but it looks like he, kind of two different sides that it came out, where initially it was reported that he was attacked by 5 people and injured, and now seeing the police report that's come since then, looks like he got into an altercation with 2 guys and then may have punched 2 guys and may be facing charges. So this is something I think will probably develop over the next, initially here tonight and then probably for a while here. But Darrell Revis is facing some off-field problems now.
Mm-hmm. Now, Greg, before we talk the Super Bowl game, I have to ask, what are your predictions? I know I don't really like predictions either, but what would be your thoughts that really should be going through the Buccaneers' minds next season?
Oh, I don't know what they'll be next season. It's still got a draft and free agency and a lot of things that'll change between now and then. Their schedule will be tough. They're going to play both Super Bowl teams again. They face the Packers. They've got some tough challenges schedule-wise, but they'll be in a good position to be challenging, at least for a wild card, and pushing Atlanta maybe for a division title if things go well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, Greg, let's talk that Super Bowl game. I know that was probably one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. Now, I have to ask you, going in at halftime, the Patriots were trailing the Falcons 28-3. What was going through your mind at halftime? Did you already count the Patriots out of this game?
Yeah, I mean, it went 23 till well into the second half. But no, I think like most people, I think you were aware of how big a lead they had, but also aware of the fact that Tom Brady was on the sidelines. So you wondered, I think, once it was, 21-0, I think most people had wondered if the Patriots could possibly come back from that. I don't think many people could have anticipated the way things closed out for him. But, I think with any game like that, when it's so out of hand early, I think you want to see things get interesting late down the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. And I have to ask you this as well. Do you feel like the Patriots are the greatest NFL franchise of all time, now winning the 5-time Super Bowl champions, or do you think they have to win one more to be in that conversation?
Oh, I mean, I think they could certainly be in the conversation right now. They'd be right there with the other dynasties that have put together titles. I mean, the run that Belichick and Brady have had is tough to match. Not only in terms of championships, but just winning 10 games every season for how many years in a row. So I mean, I'll leave that to the people to say how that compares with the Steelers or the Cowboys of the 70s, or the Niners of the 80s, or anything like that. But it's a remarkable run they had, and then again, looks like for the most part that cash should be back next year as well.
Okay, Greg. Before we wrap up this interview, I want to switch gears and talk about your career, and I want to ask you, I bet you love football, and I want to ask you, what made you want to get into this career of journalism?
Oh, just going back to even high school, like sports, like writing. Got into it pretty early, and really enjoyed it. I think you find something you can like to do. That's obviously a good thing. And I've had a chance to cover a lot of different things over the years, so it keeps the job fresh. No, just like telling stories, and glad to have a job that lets me do that.
What has been the best advice you've ever received in this career?
I don't know about best advice. I mean, I think for a young journalist, best you can do is just work hard, try a lot of different things, so you find out what you like to do. And I think there's a lot of different opportunities if you have that attitude of working hard and finding something you like to do within journalism, for sure.
Most hard, challenging player to write about?
Oh, I don't know about most challenging. I mean, there's been a lot of them. I won't single anybody. Yeah, I mean, even when they're challenging, you can find ways to deal with them. There's some that like to talk more than others. There's some that, make it easy for you more than others, but I wouldn't want to name somebody that way.
Okay, Greg, last question before we wrap up this Feuzion News interview. What is your favorite part of your job and the hardest part of your job?
I mean, the favorite part of my job is probably just knowing, when a season gets started, not knowing what's ahead, and the way, a 17-week season can unfurl itself. So that's exciting. I like the travel of it, get to go on the road, see new cities, be on the road like that. Most challenging, it's just, we're in a very competitive environment. So trying to stay on top of things, making sure you have things right, first of all, but just trying to stay ahead of things. You compete with a lot of national outlets and things like that. So that's probably the most challenging part, but it is certainly a part of the job that I enjoy.
Okay. And while I'm the interview on this, what do the Buccaneers need most this offseason in the draft?
I think just offensive playmakers, whether it be speeded receiver or getting younger at tight end, finding a running back if they go that way. I think they just need to make themselves a little bit more explosive on offense, and I think they'll do that in the first couple picks. Okay, Greg, I want to say thank you for coming on my show tonight. I greatly do appreciate it. And where can the fans read your articles and follow you on Twitter? Sure, thanks. Stories are online at tampabay.com. I'm on most social media, but on Twitter at Greg Auman, GREGAUMAN. But thanks again for letting me be on the show. Yeah, no problem. Anytime, and I hope to talk to you during, maybe after the draft and then the NFL season next season. We'll have to do it again. Thanks again. Thank you. Okay, Fuse Nation, I just wrapped up that interview with Greg Auman. I should be back here live at 3:30 tomorrow with another show. I'm taking off next week as I'm going on vacation, but I'll be back with a lot more shows after that. Fuse Nation, thank you for watching this Feuzion News interview. Be kind to one another, and I will see you on the next show.